It is a beautiful environment with a beautiful tagline for the today's session. It was a unique tagline that is called as colloquium. So thank you for all the arrangements that you have made for this session. So, and beautifully you have also jotted down all the pointers and the purpose of our visit. So as you heard that this is the 150th birth anniversary of Lord Sri Aurobindo. Have you heard about him? Anyone? About Sri Aurobindo? His birthday is on 15th of August and he born on 1872. And in his early life, he took part in the freedom fighting. And he has to go to jail also for a false case. But then he realized that India will be free. But what next? We have to free this entire humanity. Are we free? Are the humanity is free? We are not. Because we have given our remote control to someone else. Just like the TV. If someone wants to see the cartoon channel or the sports channel, they can use the remote control to see that channel. Similarly, if someone wants to make us happy, or if someone wants to make us anger or misery, we have given our remote control to others. How we can free from that? How the entire humanity can be free from this struggle? So for that, Mother and Sri Aurobindo, they did sadhana and they descended a force by which this man, which is not yet perfect, they can be transformed to a divine man. So today, as we discussed, that we are going to discuss about the education. So you all have chosen this B.Ed course as the teaching is one of the noble profession, isn't it? That's the motive that why we have chosen this particular B.Ed education. But education or this teaching is not a profession. It is the process of becoming. We have to, in the process of becoming, we can change ourselves. For example, if someone is greedy and he becomes the professor, so what he will become? He will become the greedy professor. So by becoming professor, what he will do? He will just eat the tiffin box of the students. Otherwise, he will earn money by giving extra mark who the students who are coming to his tuition class, his coaching class. He will give additional mark to those students. So are these teachings are making any changes? Are this education are making any changes? So true teaching should be we should become something. And for that, as Mother said, there are 3 steps. The first step is, if there is something new, we should first know about it. We should first learn about it. For example, if you want to drive a vehicle, directly you cannot drive a vehicle. You first be aware of what are the elements or what are the basics of that particular vehicle. So first thing is, we must learn, we must know. And the second point is, once we know, once we learn, we should do that. Unless we practice that, it will make no use. So you know about the details of the vehicle, but unless we drive that, we will not get that experience. And the third thing is that once we do that, we should aspire to become that. So we should be identified with that particular vehicle. So every object has one vibration. If we are traveling in one vehicle, if we are identified with that vehicle, if we become as a part of that vehicle, then that vehicle will suggest us if there are any dangers. It can suggest us like there is a danger. So that is the part of the education. So in our ancient age also, if we see that there was no method of like teaching something. The students were sent to the Gurukuls, where the students will be given certain task. And with that task only, the students will learn. So the responsibility of the teachers is to create that environment. If I am not practicing something and I am telling the students to do that, what will be the impact? It will not create any vibration. So first of all, whatever we are trying to communicate to the student, we should first become that. Then only that will have a living vibration. Otherwise, we will preach like a parrot. Parrot, they can tell many things. Whatever they will remember, they can say very fluently. But they are not practicing that thing. So the parrots, like if you will become a teacher like a parrot, then the parrots will create another parrots. Will make no use. But if we will try to become that, becoming means, then from the living presence of that particular teacher, the student will learn. You don't need to preach them. By looking at the teacher, the student will get the learning. For example, if there is a caterpillar, the early stage of the butterfly, if he will ask the poet is the student, he will ask the poet to write a poem on him. Will that poet will write a poem on caterpillar? He don't. How he can write? So ugly you are. So once that caterpillar becomes the butterfly, then butterfly need not ask the poet to write a poem. With the living presence of that butterfly, that particular poet will get the inspiration to write the poem. So that is why becoming is much more important. So we have seen so if you see that every student, they do have a uniqueness within them. And the responsibility of the teacher is to recognize that uniqueness. That's why Sri Aurobindo said that teacher must be a yogi. Yogi doesn't mean that he has to leave this world and he has to go to the jungle and do the sadhana. The teacher should recognize the uniqueness of that student, and with the living presence of that teacher, he should make that particular student ready for that, or he should prepare that student. But in our so-called society, there are three illusions of teaching, what Mother and Sri Aurobindo said. Before going to that illusion, I would ask you a simple question. If you have two taps, one is the golden tap and another one is the iron tap, which tap you will select? A tap, the water tap, which is made up of gold, very precious. And another one is the iron tap. Which tap you are going to select? Any answer? Or you don't need any tap? Any answer from anyone? Huh? Someone said gold. Obviously, why shouldn't we choose gold? Because it is costlier than iron. We can get more money out of that particular gold tap. But think, what is the purpose of that particular tap? If the gold tap, if it is not connected with the water tank, but the iron tap, it is connected with that water tank, which tap will give you water? Iron tap. So the gold tap, even if it is made of gold, it is not fulfilling its purpose. So similarly, we should be very careful while selecting something. And as Mother said, that now the teachings are like with three illusions. Those illusions are the career, success and money. If I ask you, why do you study? If most of the students will have these three criteria. Either they need career, either they need success, and once they attain the career and success, the idea is behind to earn more money. That is the reason why we are studying here. But Mother and Sri Aurobindo says those are illusions. Because money will come to us as per our necessity. Even if more money will come to us, it is a curse for us. For example, if there are more money, you can't sleep well in your home. You will be afraid of whether any thief will come or there will be any raid in my home. So you can't sleep peacefully. But if we make ourselves perfect, the consequences will be this money, power and career, success and money. It will come as a consequence. But we have to make ourselves a perfect instrument. For example, if the flower blossoms, then spontaneously the honeybee will come. You don't have to send him the invitation to come and collect the honey. But if you pluck a plastic flower and make all kind of scenting from the outside, whether any honeybee will come, it will never come. So that's why we have to make ourselves perfect. We have to become the true instrument of the divine, so that with our living experience, the students can learn. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo said that there are three fundamental principles of teaching. The first fundamental principle is nothing can be taught. The teachers are not the taskmasters, that they will give some task, like here also you will be given certain assignments and in return you have to submit that assignments. So teachers are not the taskmasters and nothing can be taught. Nothing can be taught means everything has to be learned. For example, as you know, we used to call Mother as our first teacher and teacher as our second mother. So when the child, in our childhood, when we learn one language, we learn it from our mother. Whether our mother teaches us the grammar for that particular language to learn it, how did we learn that? With day-to-day communication, with all kind of surroundings, we had that particular experience. Similarly, the teachers should create that environment, should create that inspiration within the student so that he can learn it himself. He can learn it from the surrounding. There is always, from most of the things we are learning from the surrounding. And whenever we are doing something wrong, there is someone within us who used to say that it is not right thing, you are not doing the correct thing. There is a feeling of uneasiness, the sensitivity. So we should learn out of that. And teacher should focus so that students should build that skill so that he can be connected with the inner life, so that from any of the mistake he could learn. For example, this is the real incident. There was a student who was very naughty and he was rejected from most of the school. None of the school were admitting that particular student. So whenever there was any interview for the admission, he used to ask a lot of unnecessary questions and he will do all kind of naughty things. So all the school rejected that particular boy. But his mother used to say that if God has created you, he would have definitely arranged one school for you. And he got admitted to one very poor school, which was going on in a old train buggy. The one teacher was conducting classes there, and he admitted that particular student there. And in the beginning, that particular student asked a lot of unnecessary questions. He thought that the teacher will be angry, he will get angry and he will throw me out of the school. Intentionally he did that. But very decently that teacher answered all the questions of that particular student. And then he was really delighted. But he never left his naughtiness. The second day he came, what he did, he took one charcoal and he drew something on that entire room. And that also, then what he thought, whenever the sir will come, he will definitely shout at me because I have made this thing as dirty. But surprisingly, that sir came and applauded him. Okay, how beautifully you have drawn this. And I want you to draw this every day. Because you have a beautiful skill of painting. But if you have to draw this tomorrow, you have to clean it today, otherwise you can draw it tomorrow. So go and clean all the walls today. And he was really happy that he got appreciated by the teacher. But when he tried to clean that wall, because it was made up of charcoal, he was not able to clean that. And then he realized that whatever I did was not correct. If I am not able to clean this particular wall, then who gave me the authority to make it dirty? So that is how the teaching should be given. And we should provide that environment for that particular student. We should, there was a saying that if you want to tell someone about a tiger, Instead of telling that tiger looks like yellow, it has the streaks, you just leave him with the tiger for some moments. He will learn most out of that. And whenever we are like in the classroom, instead of directly going to the syllabus, we should actually help the student to meditate on that particular chapter. Because there is a learning within. If he can discover the secret to connect the inner learning with the inner learning, he can get most out of that. Whatever you also, like the teachers also do. And the second fundamental principle is mind has to be consulted in its own growth. That in our day-to-day studies, what the teachers used to do, they do have a specific syllabus, and in the end of the year, you have to complete this syllabus. As if, like, we know most of the thing, and whatever we know, we should communicate it to the students. But the teachings, and what we used to think that whatever we know is the truth. That's what like we used to think. And we want to communicate the same truth to the student. But truth is really relative. That mind should experiment to illumine its knowledge. Like whatever he knows, there is a greater truth always. It means one day, one teacher asked the student, one day one teacher asked the student that whether sun is revolving around the earth or earth is revolving around the sun. And then actually he was the headmaster. Then what happened? The student, what he saw that every day I am coming to school. School is at the same place and school is within the earth. But I can see that sun is rising from the east and going to the west. So he said that the sun is revolving around the earth. Then the headmaster asked the teacher that what kind of teaching you are giving. The students are saying that sun is revolving around the earth. Then that teacher said that we didn't receive our salary for last 5 months, and after 5 months also, if you don't give us salary, neither the sun will rotate and nor the earth will rotate. We will stop everything. So if you see here, in our physical eyes, there are 3 kinds of knowledge. If you see, whatever that student said, whatever he can see with his physical eyes, that is truth. That sun is revolving around the earth. But there is another truth which can be seen in the mind level, the mental knowledge. That the earth is revolving around the sun. But again, there is another truth which is beyond mind. That is the spiritual knowledge.